Hi guys, welcome to part 2 of Fishy Explains Things Poorly. My name is Bob on the cob again, and today we'll be looking at Devtooling. This is the room from the previous episode in game, by the way. Now first thing, this is pretty obvious, but I'm going to say it anyway. You open up Devtools with O, and then to actually Devtool the level, it's H. That's what brings up this tab. Pretty obvious, but I thought I would get that out of the way just in case you didn't know that. But yeah, let's just quickly go through the room settings. Over here are the room settings, obviously. Here you can select what is the game over or the cycle end thing, you know. Like does rain come into the room? Does it flood? There's also flood and rain and none, which just make it so that there is absolutely nothing, like it just goes on forever. And some other miscellaneous stuff. I don't know what thunder is, that was weird. Rumble intensity and rain intensity, that's pretty self-explanatory. It controls how intense the rain and rumble is. Ceiling drips is that sometimes tiles have drips. Hold on, let me. Sometimes tiles like drip water or something, and this controls the intensity. Usually just leave it at 50%. Next up, the wave things. These controls how the waves look, you know, if you have water in the room. Wavelength, pretty self-explanatory, same with wave speed. Wave amplitude is how tall the waves go, so you can make them look however you want. I'm going to turn that down a bit. Maybe turn down the speed, yeah. These two, no idea what they do. Like genuinely no idea. So I don't usually touch them. Leave them on default. Clouds, this does not affect the background. This only affects the light. For example, if I turn up clouds, you can see the room gets more and more covered in clouds. I'm going to leave this at 25%. Grime is that little rainbow colored thing you can see like over here. If I turn it to 100%, it gets really strong. I usually put this down so the room looks a little better. High grime can work in some places, but I usually turn it off or leave it on low. Next up, random item density. It's just how many items it will spawn by itself. Pretty simple. Random items sphere percent, once again pretty simple. It's just how many of those random items are spears, you know. Water light is a little caustics on the background. You can turn them off or leave them 100%. We're going to turn them off for now. Wet terrain, no idea. Genuinely never turn this off. I mean, I don't turn it off. I don't know what it does. Probably something, but you know. Next up are the palettes. This is what majorly affects the room basically. So this is palette 0, that's the outskirts palette. And as you can see, when you click through them, the room looks different. We're going to find a good one real quick. I think for now we... Oh wait, I should probably mention that, whoopsies. I'm using a mod called either Fabulous or Beautiful Devtools. I forgot which one because there's two of them. But yeah, that's what makes my Devtools look like this. Basically, it's pretty neat. It includes a search function. Next up, the effect colors. Effect color A are usually the signs. I almost mix them up. So, as you can see, I click through them and the signs change colors. It's pretty neat. I'm going to put them on. Actually, hold on. Yeah, I think we'll do white because it's unique. Now, effect color B. This is usually plants. We don't have any plants, so not really useful right now. It basically acts the same as the signs, but it's for plants. Next up is the fade palette. This is basically you can combine palettes. So if I select free, this is what free look like, but I want to combine it with this. So you put fade palette free, and then this is the percentage of how much it will be combined together. Okay, right, that look better in my head, not going to lie. But yeah, basically that's kind of it for the palettes. Now for effects. This is how do I explain this? Basically, this enhances a room with different things. You really have to play around to see what does what. The gameplay tab usually has things that affect gameplay, except music. I don't know how that really affects gameplay, but alright. Day-night, it turns a room into a day-night room, that kind of day and night. Pretty self-explanatory. 0G, broken 0G, that's zero gravity. Broken 0G makes it turn on and off. I'm not going to go for every single one of these, just like examples. Over here is the lighting tab. This has many neat things that I use. Usually I try to use light burn and bloom because I think they look nice. Usually put them like this. Just basically you can play around with these. You can add non-lethal rain to your room. Also some other neat things. This is really just decoration for the most part. In fact, there's a straight up tab called decorations. But yeah, you really just have to play around to see how this looks. Oh, by the way, Void C. You can make any room become the ending room, which is pretty neat. But yeah, let me just restart to see how these effects look. By the way, for some room effects, you need to restart to see how they look. You do that by pressing R when Devtools are enabled. I think this actually looks pretty neat. Alright, well, on to the Objects tab. I'm going to be honest, you don't actually have to do objects, like you could just stop at room settings. This room already looks decent. If you just stop going, then you will still have a pretty good room. Also, say hi to the worm grass. I don't know why, but do that. Comment hi worm grass right now. Yeah. But let's move on to objects, because this is where the cool things are. This is basically things that you can interact with or stuff like that, I guess. I think that's how you would describe them. For example, all the food and interactable stuff is here. Like I'm going to put water nut. This is the bubble fruit, by the way. Some things have weird names. But yeah. This would make bubble fruit spawn on those locations if I restart, see? And basically it's used for these kinds of things. Now this tab can get really cluttered, so I would suggest downloading Region Kit because it adds this mode. Where if you click it, it hides all objects and you can click on them to unhide them and move them around and stuff. Now there are a lot of cool things you can do here. You can make spears not stick to certain surfaces if you want that. You can add climbable vines. You can add the mud from the watcher. You can also select where you will spawn when you wake up from a shelter. Also warp points from the watcher. I have a whole skit about the watcher's objects like not being exclusive sometimes. But yeah, a lot of creatures are also spawned with them. Coral Brain, this is the superstructure items, like don't get them confused. For some reason they're called coral stuff. I don't know why, but yeah. Next up, I will just say the most useful things in my opinion. I like light source. Light sources are really neat. I'm going to set them to the effect color one and then add them to the signs. Because this will make it look like the signs are actually glowing, you know. It's not really strong on layer 3, but it's a sword that counts, you know. Another thing you can do with light sources is make them flat, which makes them look like this. This doesn't look useful, but if you turn down the strengths and put them somewhere over here, you can actually get this pretty cool mist effect that looks really good. I wanted to tell you this because I was searching for a way to do this for like a year, but I didn't want to ask anyone. But yeah. Another thing, in the previous video I mentioned how you can add rust in Devtools. That's done with decals. Decals are done to add, or things, or like ways to add graffiti and stuff, basically. For example, I'm going to add this to this wall. Let's quickly scale that up, and boom, we have graffiti. Okay. You can also drag the socket. Oh shit. So yeah, there are also rust decals that you can use. If you can't tell, this might be one of the longer segments because you can do like a lot of things with Devtools. So yeah, there's also rust. Let me just quickly deselect that. This is objectively the better rust. Like if you have to choose between adding them in Devtools or in game. Wait, hold on. If you have to choose between adding them in the editor or in Devtools, always pick Devtools because this just looks nicer. So yeah, I'm just going to quickly add some to these platforms because I think they look very neat. I'm actually really starting to enjoy how this room looks. But yeah, there's like many more things like rainbows. Oh, like rainbows, you know. If you want to add those. Let's see what else. Snow is also added with objects. Also the fans, the outer expanse spheres, yeah, this, I don't know, basically, if there's something cool that's interactable, 88% chance it's Devtools. But like 100, I'm going to add that cosmetic ripple, because look at it, that's objectively kinda cool sometimes. Sometimes. Look at that. And I think that's it for the objects tab. You can see I'm not going through all of that. Basically, terrain is also added with Devtools. We're not going to include them in this room because, you know. Oh. Oh, you can also drag these. So yeah, that's basically it for the objects tab. Next we're going to move on to sounds. The sound tab is, once again, you can completely ignore it, but don't. You can basically add a lot of neat sounds with it, like wind. Machine noises, I guess. Like, just the background noises, basically. You can also make them appear in a single spot, like, I don't know. If you go up to that machine somehow, the sound will play. So overall, this tab is extremely simple. You can also change the volume and pitch of the sounds. That's basically it for this tab. You can also just see or like try out different sounds to see what would work best. And now let's get into the rest of the tabs, which are pretty miscellaneous, so I probably won't give it too much in-depth explanation, because to be frank, I also don't really use them. Now for the map, triggers, and what are these? The map tab is basically where you can edit the map of a region. This is an arena and not a region, so you know I can't really do anything here. But yeah, it's pretty useful. You can also render the map. Canon view is how the rooms will look on the actual map. Dev view is how basically used if there are overlapping rooms. So yeah, this position won't appear on the actual map, if that makes sense. Trigger is basically like trigger. You can make them do many things. You can make them reveal pole plans for a little bit, give a text message, or start and stop music. These are usually used to do music, but yeah. Also, you can change them if you need a certain amount of karma. You can make them activate from a certain cycle. For example, if you don't go, if you go to this spot on cycle 50, then like an Easter egg song plays or something. You can do little fun things like that. You can also set them to be specific socket, or socket specific. God damn it. Next up, the dialogue tab. Next up, the background tab. Yeah, I have no idea what the dialogue tab does, so I'm not even going to try. The background tab is very specific. It has one use, and I'm pretty sure it's region kit exclusive, so just use that. But basically, if you have like the above clouds view thing, you can just change the Y offset. Like, look, now the clouds are there, and now we're in the clouds. Well, this doesn't make sense, because why is it raining above the clouds? You can also load different types of backgrounds, like what? Oh. Okay. Yeah, you can do different types of backgrounds, but that's only if they actually would work, I guess. But yeah, that is actually kinda it. There are some more neat things you can do with Devtools. I pressed the wrong button. You can actually do some more stuff with Devtools. For example, you can create a modify file. This is used to modify an existing room's settings. Like if you want to have a specific room, have like one more object, you can go there, create modify, and now if your mod is enabled, then that room will have that extra object. You can do Slugcat specific room settings, like for Saint, you can just spam the shit out of the snow and make that Saint exclusive. But yeah, that's actually about it. So yeah. I also have, unrelated to everything else, but I have recorded another speed editing time lapse. So yeah, this video was much quicker than I thought it would be, but there really isn't anything too much to explain about Devtools, because I'm not about to explain every single object. Like, oh yeah, you can use the ghost spot to spawn an echo with like 10,000 lines of code. But yeah, I'm probably not going to do all that. Probably. Please don't make me do that. Please. But yeah, okay.